you're audible. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You are audible to us as well. So, hello, sir. We welcome you on behalf of IIM Kashipur. I'm Isha Vats. I'll be moderating this session along with my colleague Ayushi Sharma. I hope you're doing good, sir.
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much.
So, with your permission, I would like to briefly introduce you before commencing with the session.
Sure, please.
Thank you, sir. So, a very good evening to all. We are glad to host Mr. Pankaj Advani as our guest for Tejas, a leadership talk series through webinar. He will be addressing the topic, leadership, motivation, and inspiration from the journey of a sportsman. Mr. Advani is an evergreen achiever with a prolific career in snooker and billiards. He is the only player in the world to have won world championships in all formats of billiards and snooker. His tenacity and excellence are the only reasons he is considered as the man of records with the most IBSF World Championship in billiards and snooker. He has been honored by the Indian government with numerous prestigious national awards, including the Arjuna Award in 2004, the Major 𝐏𝐚𝐧𝐤𝐚𝐣 Ratna in 2006, the Padma Shri in 2009, and the Padma Bhushan in 2018. Sir recently established an all-win record and finished on a strong note in the GSC World Snooker qualifiers, winning the top spot in the competition and securing a spot for India in the World Snooker Championship, which will be hosted in Doha.
In line is, we are curious to know, for every sports person, there are some events that are life-changing and most sought after. And I think Olympic events can be placed into that category. So what are your views on the Olympics? And according to you, what more can be done? Please share your set of views and suggestions for the Olympic events.
See, Olympics is a huge event. I'm not going to deny that. I think India particularly places a lot of importance, on the Olympics because it comes once in 4 years. But if I have to just move slightly away from this topic and talk about consistency, now not consistency in sport, let's talk about, say, Bollywood. I'm in Mumbai right now, so the first thing that comes to the top of my mind is Bollywood. Do you think a film star who gives one hit once in 4 years would be more successful than a film star who gives a hit every year? I think the answer is no. Maybe you also feel like, so we need to appreciate consistency. I'm not saying, that the Olympics should be given less importance. I think every event has its own value and importance. And I've won the Asian Games twice, in 2006 and in 2010. And the Asian Games is like the Olympics of Asia because it happens once in 4 years. But if I were to choose my best victories, I would still say my world titles are my most special victories because they've happened every year, almost every year. I've had my share of losses as well, just like any other athlete. But I also value my world titles a lot because that happens on a more consistent and regular basis.
Yes, sir. Agree to that. Actually, that was an interesting analogy that you gave. So the next question in line is, we want to know what is your success mantra? Like, how do you approach any big game before the D-Day?
I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of nervousness, and it should be. I feel that you should feel a little bit of pressure and those butterflies, as they say. Because when you don't feel it, it means that it doesn't mean that much to you. So it's good to feel that way. It's a nervous excitement. You're nervous as well as excited because you're playing a big match. It's just like a big exam or an entrance test or a big interview. It could be anything, a presentation for that matter. A little bit of nervousness helps because it keeps you on your toes. And then you're not very complacent because you're aware that, okay, if I falter, this could happen, that could happen. At the same time, the excitement and the joy, because this is what we play for. Today, I train, for 4 or 5 hours a day before a tournament, or I go to the gym to keep myself physically fit, or, both mentally fit and physically fit, because I want to be on the big stage. So just before a big game, I do a little bit of visualization. And I thought I can share with all those who are watching. Since my brother's a sports psychologist, he's really helped me deal with the mental aspect of the game. And now that I know there's so much of talk around mental health, and it was World Mental Health Day recently, I just thought I'll share an exercise with you, which he has taught me, is that whenever you're feeling high bouts of pressure or anxiety, just concentrate on your breathing. So you could just inhale and you say let in. So while you're breathing in, you actually tell yourself let in. Even if you can't talk it out, you just imagine you talk to yourself internally and say let in. And when you exhale after a long breath, let go. So what you're doing is you're letting in the positive energy and all the oxygen go in. And when you're breathing out, you're letting out all the negativity and the stress. So I just find that this is a great way to deal with tough situations on the spot.
I'm surely going to try this out in my
You
next
must.
interview.
You must.
Hello.
Yes,
Am I
Isha,
audible?
you're audible.
Okay. So, sir, we all know that true success requires sacrifices. So we really want to know that what sacrifices did you, like you must have made a lot of fun to reach at this position right now, but which one of them was the hardest to make from your point of view in your entire life till date?
So every year during the summer holidays, I used to come to Mumbai to play with my cousins and spend time with them and spend time with my relatives and family, because a lot of my relatives are in Mumbai and I'm based in Bangalore. And this one year where I just started the game, there was a summer camp for billiards and snooker during the summer holidays. And there were two batches, the first month and the second month. There were two individual batches. And my train ticket was always booked from Bangalore to Mumbai. And that year also the book ticket was booked. And I was in a dilemma. I said, should I go for the camp? Because I've just started playing snooker and billiards and I was so obsessed and hooked on to it. And then I said, no, yeah, but I love going to Mumbai. I love the street food over there, the pav bhaji, this, that. And, we'll get to have Duma Masti with the cousins and stuff. And I was just 10 years old. So it was a very tough decision to make. But I feel that was a turning point in my life. Had I not attended those summer coaching camps, I probably wouldn't have taken snooker and billiards so seriously. I probably wouldn't have taken up this game and made a career out of it. Or maybe it would have been delayed. But at that point of time, that was priority for me. And because I went and did both the summer camps, in fact, my brother went ahead and went to Bombay, but I stayed back for the summer camp. I think it's the reason why I also improved so quickly and took up billiards and snooker. So sometimes there comes a time in life where you have to make a tough decision and you have to let go of all the fun and sacrifice that for the greater good of your career.
Definitely. Letting things go is never an easy task. And hearing all your sacrifices at that age, that really definitely proves that hard work and efforts does give great results. It's a practical example right now in front of us. So going ahead, sir, with the last question from our end. While striving in our lives, working towards success, it is inevitable that failures will occur. But considering your rich experience and achievements, which needs definitely no introduction anymore, can you please share with us what is one important lesson that you have learned as a professional cue sport player down the years?
Whatever you're doing, do it because you're passionate about it, because you love doing it. It should, jaise bolte na, dil ko chuta hai. That kind of feeling it should give you. I know a lot of many parents and children, they're very sort of enamored with the glamour world or with professions that give them name, fame, and loads of money. But that's something they may not even be talented in. Not everybody can become a Sachin Tendulkar, or not everybody can become a Shah Rukh Khan or an Amitabh Bachchan or a superstar. You need talent for it. You need to have passion for it. So obviously you need to try different things and then only you'll know where your talent lies. Fortunately for me, I found and discovered my talent very early in my career, which is why I was clear in my head that this is what I need to do, I want to do in life. But don't do things because of the name, fame, and rewards. Those are the wrong reasons. In the long run, it won't last. Only things that you're passionate about, that really touch your heart and that give you fulfillment. As they say, job satisfaction. Those are the things that will last a long way.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering this question. I mean, it was really refreshing to get the insights from you on this point of time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering the questions. And now we would like to extend the floor to the students to ask their questions from you.
Sure.
Yes, Abhijit, you can go ahead.
Good evening, sir. You won the World Billiards 15 times, World Snooker 3 times. So every athlete faces a dark phases in that breaks them to some extent. For you, I think that time came in 2006 when you wanted to give up on the game. But what happened? And then after a few months, you won the Asian Games. What was happening in China?
Doha, the gold medal.
Yeah. So how you overcome that stage and what happened actually?
Well, it's very good question. I was going through a rough patch in 2006. I couldn't win any tournament. I'd lost confidence and motivation. And my elder brother Shri was in Australia at that point of time, but he surprised me and he made a visit to India just before my Asian Games. So I told him about the struggles that I was going through mentally. And he said, okay, let me do a few exercises with you, because he was doing a lot of training in leadership, success, motivation. And he used some of those exercises on me and he changed my internal representations. In simpler language, it's basically, changing the way I look at things, my programming, my self-belief, how to tackle situations where I'm under pressure, all of that. And I remember that I said, okay, he said, do one thing for me. You just give this your best shot. Remember what we've discussed in these exercises. And after the Asian Games, you take a decision whether you want to continue or not. And again, as luck would have it, or as fate played its part, I went on to win the gold medal for India in the 2006 Asian Games. And the kind of response I got was overwhelming. I had celebrities wishing me on social media, the government showering praise, awards, this, that. And I felt like, wow, this is like a new lifeline. So I have my brother to thank, because he was my savior. And because of that, he found his profession. Now he's a sports psychologist and he helps many athletes across different sports, whether it's skating, cricket, badminton, tennis, swimming. So in a way, he introduced me to my profession, and later on I introduced him to his profession. So the turning point again, to continue my career in that kind of fashion was 2006, where I won the Asian Games gold for India. And then I went on to win another Asian Games gold in 2010 in China. So, I just didn't want to stop after that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Saurabh, please go ahead.
Very good evening, sir. So my question is, I have two short questions. The first one is, having so many championships under your belt, one after the other. So many players are unable to repeat the same mark again and again, because somewhere down the line, a complacency comes because like somebody has achieved a level of achievement. How do you motivate yourself to continuously being at the top of a game? Like you mentioned, like Roger Federer is your idol. He also has won so many championships and he's still not stopping. And second point is, when you become a player of national reputation, a lot of distractions also happen. As you mentioned, you come in the news every day and people are following you. So how do you keep yourself away from that and continue to focus on your game?
Hunger is what I would, give you as an answer for the longevity and consistency in performance. As long as you're hungry, to excel and to continue playing the game at a high level. See, at the end of the day, no matter how much a Federer has achieved, I'm sure he's still learning more about the game of tennis. Today, even though I have won few titles, or achieved consistency in billiards and snooker over the years, I want to learn. I'm hungry for knowledge. That's how I'm built. That's how I'm made. And I will not stop until I gain something more and more out of the game, more knowledge, learn how to play different kinds of shots, add more dimensions and add to my repertoire of shots and strokes, because that's what gives you fulfillment. If you're stagnant and you're happy with what you have, then the only way is down. But as long as you're constantly reinventing yourself and developing new skills within that field, you're improving. So I would just say there's never an end to learning. And probably that's one of the reasons why I've, tried to, maintain my position at the top. I know it's not easy, but it's a pressure that I enjoy. I enjoy representing my country. I enjoy shouldering that responsibility where I know that people are expecting me to win. But that's the position I put myself in, and that's the position I've worked for so many years. So there's no going back now. Coming back to your part of, the distractions, yes, when you're successful, many people want a piece of you. In India, of course, it's more of the cricketers, less of the other sports persons. And it isn't easy. The other day, India-Pakistan played, and where I don't agree, to certain things is that when we also beat them, we shouldn't be condescending and sort of insulting them so much, saying that, baap baap hota hai. Those are things that we should avoid. Yeah, it's a game. At the end of the day, we can win. They can win sometimes, like they defeated us convincingly. So one thing I would want to definitely say is that to lose is still okay, in the sense that people have different reactions to how they lose. Of course, you should lose gracefully. But I think the bigger challenge is in how you digest your success and the way you digest your success. Because if it goes to your head, then you're finished. If you get complacent, you're finished. So for me, I'm always a little more scared when I'm winning, because there's more to lose after that. And to remain humble, to actually acknowledge all those who have played an important part in your life and have contributed to your career, an attitude of gratitude, so to say, keeps one grounded. So never forget the people who've helped you along the way. And also remember that success and failure both are two sides of the same coin and are never final, because you'll never always fail. And, eventually you will find a way to succeed. And you never always succeed also in life, because I know today probably I'm at the top, tomorrow I may not be. So there's no need to, blow my trumpet or, lift my collar and act all like, I'm God's gift to mankind, sort of a thing.
Thank you so much, sir.
Akash, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Thank you so much for your life experiences. That was so motivational for us because we are in the phase of learning, and we feel like, getting each and every steps, having an experience like yours, and will certainly provide us the growth. So my question is that, like when you reach at certain level, you don't have that much time left at your account to provide to your loved ones. So in that condition, there is a possibility of internal clashes between your families or something like that. These kind of things creates a different kind of distraction. How do you deal with such distractions?
You're talking about clashes internally with your loved ones?
Yeah, you can't provide so much times when you get so much successful. So in that condition, we have seen many of times some personalities get some types of internal clashes with their loved ones and families because they are not providing some certain amount of time.
Yeah, so it's again work-life balance. And yes, we've all become so career-oriented that we tend to forget giving time and attention and love to our loved ones. It is a very difficult balance to maintain. But now we live in the world of technology, don't we? Especially post, COVID. We're all connected through our phones and our gadgets and our laptops and all those devices where, over video calls or even normal calls. I'll just give you an example for now. I've been, away from my mom for a few weeks. Then I traveled before that to Doha to, play for India. And I'm connected to her through a phone. And I just make sure to message or call her every day, or she calls me and messages me. And that's enough. So at the end of the day, loved ones understand. Now, if you explain to them nicely that, see, this is very, very important to me, that this is a matter of my career, but also keep in touch with them. It's not that you forget about them completely. So that's the beauty of technology. And earlier I never understood it because I've never been big on technology. I've never been tech savvy in my life. I was more of a, face-to-face, physical kind of person. And now I've realized the importance of technology, and I'm like, you know what, at least just talk, or even a video call or whatever. Stay connected with your loved ones and explain to them nicely. I'm sure they'll understand. And that's the best way to keep in touch. At the same time, you can also give considerable amount of time to your career.
Thank you so much, sir.
Shivam, you can ask your question.
Good evening, sir. This was a great session. I enjoyed a lot. My question is, what advice you will give to the person who want to follow same path as you did throughout life? And also, I have another question. How did you, after like getting like so major national awards, what made you like think that you will go again and grab another one? Because you could have stopped there anytime, and like you must have got a fame, must have gotten famous at a time. So you actually went through different events, and then still you got to like in the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan. So what was your thought?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about success. Once you've tasted it, now you want more of it. Uh, of course, it doesn't come to you always, but when you have those moments of victory, the kind of fulfillment and happiness and joy it gives you when you're at the top of your profession, that kind of high, nothing else can give you. Forget alcohol. That's just, a very temporary thing. In fact, I don't drink, by the way. So a lot of people say, yeah, what do you get high on? I say, I'm high on life. And success is what keeps me high. But I also understand that you can't always be successful in life, but you can work towards it. So it's all about how much you want something, how badly you want something. If you want something really badly, you will put your mind and efforts and all your activities be directed towards that goal. If you don't want it that much, you're like, okay, chalta hai, I'll see what happens and take it with the flow. Then it may or may not happen. At the same time, you have to also tell yourself what's the worst that could happen, because many a time we take ourselves so seriously and we put ourselves under that kind of pressure and self-expectations that, we feel like this is make or break. If I don't get this job, or if I don't get this position, or if I win, for me, it's the end of the world. We play it up and make it so big in our heads. And that's the time we need to tell ourselves, our mind is very funny. It's like a thought-producing factory, where, or like monkeys jumping continuously. So our thoughts keep jumping from one thought to the other. So you have to fool your mind sometimes because it plays tricks with you. Just like how your mind plays tricks with you, you also have to play tricks with your mind. You have to keep chatting with it and even fooling it at times. So there are many times in my career where I've taken things very seriously and too hard. And I say, what's the worst that could happen? I'll lose. Nah. It's not the end of the world. I'll come back next year and try harder. So these are the kind of talks you need to have with your mind.
Thank you, sir.
Ashwini, you can ask your question.
A very good evening, sir. Thank you for sharing the experiences with us. As we all know that every success or failure comes with some or the other criticism. So how efficiently can we handle such criticism in difficult times and bounce back stronger?
Criticism can be of two kinds, Ashwini, either constructive or destructive. If criticism is constructive, then you must take it on your chin and say, you know what, maybe you have a valid point. Let me work on it. Let me work on my flaws and my weaknesses and come back with renewed vigor. But if it's destructive criticism, then it's best to ignore. Sometimes people troll us online, people who are in the public eye, who are scrutinized for every remark they make. I remember once I had tweeted something. I didn't get my facts right. It was my mistake. I had congratulated the Prime Minister for, being declared the best PM by UNESCO, which was actually something that was just doing the rounds on WhatsApp, and I got carried away. And so many people trolled me for it. I only replied, with one line to them. I said, I don't even get this much attention when I win a world title. So a lot of people appreciated that comeback. So sometimes you can give it back, but I would say that best is to ignore. people who are purposely trying to disrupt your mental state of mind, or who are trying to upset you so that you don't achieve your goal. And there are a lot of jealous people because the world has become so competitive, so everybody's intentions are not always clean. And, so you have to also choose the company you keep. As long as people are positive and are contributing and adding value to your life, those are the people you need to keep closest to you. And if there's any kind of feedback, I would call it, or constructive criticism, then always take it positively and work on it.
Thank you, sir.
Karthikeya, go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. My question to you is, how do you manage proficiency in both billiards and snooker?
Out of all the achievements, if somebody had to ask me what is the most difficult challenge in the game, internally and technically, I would say is to juggle between billiards and snooker. Now, for the common man, I know many sports lovers don't understand the basic difference, but billiards is played with 3 balls, yellow, white, and red. And snooker is played with 22 balls, with 15 reds, 6 color balls, and 1 white ball. But both are played on the same table, yet their scoring patterns and their approach and the technique is highly in contrast with one another. So, and invariably people achieve either in billiards or in snooker. So when I came back from my first victory in 2003, 18 years ago, I told my coach, listen, now I want to win in billiards. I won in snooker, now I want to specialize in billiards. And he started laughing at me. He's like, what are you talking? Just stick to snooker. A lot of senior players also criticized my technique and said, oh, his technique is so unorthodox because he's trying to play both billiards and snooker and it's changing from one sport to the other. And that is why people say that you can only specialize in one. I wanted to redefine the word specialization. So I said, let me take this as a challenge to do something that hasn't been done before. Roger Bannister, the great athlete, said that he first saw that he could achieve a mile within 4 minutes, and then he did it. So I think believing is seeing. When you believe and you see it in your head first, that, okay, this is what I am capable of. If I work towards, I can do it. Then you actually see it happen in front of you. Normally they say seeing is believing, but I say believing is seeing. When you believe it, then you also see it in front of your eyes. So this has been the biggest challenge of my career so far, to juggle between both sports and to also excel and win in both.
Thank you, sir.
Bishop, please go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Those were very motivating. So my simple question to you is, like, what is your simple habit that you think it requires least effort but is making a great difference in your life?
Simple habit. Rishabh, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat non-veg. I don't know if that qualifies as a bad habit, but I don't put anything in my body which I feel would harm me in the long run. And I've been asked quite often, what's the secret to your youthful looks or your young age? Because I'm 36 and many people say I don't look like 36. I just tell them, listen, stay away from these things, have lots of fruits, vegetables and all, drink lots of water. I know it sounds very cliche, but if you follow these basic things and stay away from substances that can cloud your judgment, I think it goes a long way. You have more clarity. So these are some of the things that I would recommend, to stay away from alcohol as much as you can. And obviously, substances that could alter your thinking process and could even, kill your brain cells really. I'm not saying be a goody, two shoes and just, only have good habits. I'm sure everybody has their own vices, but in limitation. Anything in life which is done in excess is not good. So, that's one habit that I have, that I don't do anything in excess. If you maintain a balance and do it in moderation, it's still okay.
Thank you, sir.
Saloni, you can go next.
Thank you, sir, and good evening. Sir, from my humble experience in sports, I realized that a game is played more in the mind than at the table or the arena. So, what is your source of mental strength and resilience, and what have you inculcated in your daily regime for that, apart from training?
My elder brother Shri is a sports psychologist, so obviously that aspect is taken care of thanks to him. But the game itself is meditative in nature. When I'm on the snooker and billiards table, I'm transported to another world. It's like nothing else exists for me. It's just me and the table and that one ball that I need to pot. So that's what the game does for me, and that's how I keep myself focused and dedicated. Um, I know that that's when athletes say that you're in the zone. That's what it means. When you're in the zone, when everything else doesn't exist around you, and it's only you and the ball in front of you, and you're in the arena. So to keep yourself mentally fit, there are various exercises people do. I'm not personally, I don't do meditation, although I've been asked many times, because I feel the game itself is meditative in nature. I do a little bit of visualization before big matches where I'm visualizing myself and creating a picture in my mind of me playing the best shots and playing in rhythm. And I suggest you also do that, if it's an important exam, a presentation, job interview, whatever it is, big task, big function, or you're performing somewhere, even if it's something as fun as, say, performing at a Sangeet event, if you visualize yourself doing the right steps or, doing things correctly, because when we perform in a public platform, there is nervousness. In fact, a survey was done in which they say that public speaking is the world's #1 fear. Most of the people are afraid of public speaking. So even that can be rehearsed in your mind a little bit, just a little bit, so that you're creating a kind of picture so that when you're in the arena, you're not too afraid or you don't get scared of, the stage and the stage fright, as they call it.
So guys, due to paucity of time, we'll be taking one last question. So Sahil, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, sir. So my question is about the Welsh Open, and in which you outplayed the Sean Murphy first. And we almost thought that this title is going to come into India now, but then Jude Trump took over later on. And then later on, you went on to winning the IBSF title, world title again in 2015, and which came almost after like 12 years. And like you mentioned, 2003 was your one of the best achievements. So how did you feel about conquering the world title again after such a long time? I mean, you did win a lot of tournament, but 15 red tournament is something that is considered quite a big time.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in the UK, it was a great learning experience, and I got tremendous exposure playing against those players. But I realized that this isn't the life for me, because I had to be based in the UK for 8 months a year, and it was very expensive, and I wasn't representing India at that time. It was me playing for myself. So I wanted to come back to India, represent my country in both billiards and snooker, and win titles for it. And in 2015, I had a very tough loss in the Asian snooker final, where I should have won against a Pakistani player in the final, and I lost by the most narrow margin. I was almost in tears, and that's when I woke up and I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and I'm going to win something bigger this year. And sure enough, after a few months, I went on to win the world snooker title, which I'd won in 2003 after a gap of 12 years, defeating a very, very tough Chinese player. So I would just want to say never. I never thought that I would go to the UK because I never liked staying there for long periods of time, but I did that. I never felt that I was able to, cope up with the pressure of, expectations from fans and people initially in my career. I did that. I just wanted to say that never say never. We sometimes say, okay, I'm never going to do this in my life, or I'm never going to do that in my life. You never know how life comes back to give you those situations where you're faced and with a situation where you have to do those things only for the betterment and growth of your career. So always be open to new possibilities, be open to learning. And, when I won this world title, especially after 12 years, a lot of journalists have asked me and said that, oh, you not played anywhere close to what you did in 2003. And it felt really bad because they don't know what pressures I was facing. But at the same time, reality is reality. If I had not played as well for so many years, there must have been something wrong, which is why I went to the UK. I honed my skills further, played with those guys, came back, and then I won in 2015. So it took a lot out of me, but it was worth the effort.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering the questions of the students. So I, on behalf of IIM Kashipur, would like to thank you for the enlightening session, for sharing your experience with us. And I'm sure students must have gained a lot of insights about the sport, and we are really inspired and motivated by your incredible journey. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you so much, everyone, for the active participation and for joining the session. You guys can leave now.